The leaders of NATO have just wrapped up their summit in Madrid with a renewed and stronger stance against Russia. Promises from the alliance to back Ukraine for as long as it takes and to bolster NATO's eastern flank with a major military buildup. Canada as well is pledging to keep boosting its support. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau giving his closing remarks just last hour, as you heard live from that summit. So with the announcement of more military hardware for Ukraine, coming along with drone cameras and armored vehicles, covering the allocation of the money, the $500 million set aside for Ukraine in the Liberals' last budget. But it's not expected to be the end of Canadian support. David Cochrane has the details for us this morning.
Let's start with the announcement, because this is what we were wondering coming on this trip, is that would NATO be the place where we got the answer, where the balance of the $500 million that the government had committed to the military defense of Ukraine in the budget will be delivered. And we got those details today with the announcement of 6 new drone cameras and 39 armored combat support vehicles that will be delivered to Ukraine sometime this summer. Now, these are brand new off the assembly line made by General Dynamics in London, Ontario. And these are armored vehicles. They're defensive primarily, support troop movements, that sort of thing, that were intended for the Canadian military. And what the Canadian Armed Forces has decided is that they can wait to get their new military kit, and this will be sent instead to the battlefields of Ukraine to help President Vladimir Zelensky and his army and his people defend themselves against the invasion of Russia. Now, Canada has a contract to buy about 360 of these for about $3 billion. And the first 39, I'm assuming some of them are already ready. They're done. They're being rigorously field tested to see if they'll work. Not only are the vehicles being given outright to the people of Ukraine, there's going to be a maintenance support component to this announcement, and also parts and equipment to make sure they can be fixed if something happens to them. And there's going to be some training to teach the Ukrainian military personnel on how to use them. So right off the bat, that is a tangible example of support and a pretty significant announcement, because that's critical mass. This is one of the things that the government of Ukraine have been asking for, was armored vehicles, because they're moving people around in vehicles with very light armor or no armor at all. And they are going up against one of the largest armies in the world right now, and it's just hopelessly outmatched. And this is why NATO and G7 allies have been aggressively financing and equipping the defense of Ukraine. So this is Canada's probably this, in addition to the howitzers and the lethal arms that they'd sent there, this gets them up to a decent level of contribution for this first part of the conflict with Russia. But you heard the questions, Heather, and the analysis out there is that this is going to go on for quite some time, and nobody should look at them fulfilling this $500 million and assuming that's it. NATO, the G7, a unified voice over the last 2 summits that we've attended, that they are in this for the long haul to back Ukraine, floating them sovereign loans to keep the government solvent and able to pay its workers and run the government and provide services, and then big announcements on military equipment from big countries like the United Kingdom and the United States in particular, which delivered a lot of firepower to continental Europe's defense yesterday. Canada coming in with its announcement, really the missing piece of our expectations when we left Canada a week ago now to go to this trio of summits.